Good evening, this is HorseRacingNation.com handicapper Jared Horak. This is the video feature race of the week. This week, once again, I'm joined by my Derby Wars and Horse Racing Nation colleague Ryan Patterson, and he knows a thing or two about Turfway Park.
Yeah, it's a great track up in Florence, Kentucky. I had the pleasure of working there about 6 months ago, and great people, and today we're going to have great horses.
Yeah, we're going to do the Spiral Stakes today, but they have two other stakes races. We'll quickly mention them, and then we'll get to our Spiral analysis. The 8th race at Turfway on Saturday is going to be the Rushaway Stakes, sponsored by Team Valor. That'll be a mile and a 16th on Polytrack. Actually, Team Valor has a horse in here, trained by Grand Motion, Crop Report.
Crop Report, yeah, I know Team Valor's owner, CEO, Barry Irwin's had a lot of frustration with this horse. He had a hard time, first of all, purchasing him. The former owner didn't want to sell him, and they've lost time, and he's had hard racing luck, and it looks like he's ready to go now, and they're going to try to springboard their way to the Bluegrass and then to the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, as you mentioned, he had some trouble in his U.S. debut. That was a mile and 16th on the turf at Gulfstream Park. Now he's going to switch over and try synthetic, and he'll probably be running on late, and there does seem to be some speed in that race. The 9th race at Turfway, the Bourbonnette Oaks, that'll be going 1 mile on the synthetic surface. Pure Fun, your 8-5 morning line favorite.
Right, Pure Fun was purchased by my friend and colleague Rory Callis with South Coast Bloodstock. He found her as a yearling, and she's just come so far since then. And last out in the Grade 1 Hollywood Starlet, I thought turning for home, well, maybe she'll get him next time. And just out of nowhere, here comes Garrett Gomez, and she mowed him down late, and it looks like she's going to do the same thing here.
She's been training well. She's been training in company with Frack Daddy. Ken McPeak's happy with the way she's moving forward, and he thinks that she's going to run a big race. The other interesting thing is that she ran at Hollywood, and early pressing speed was good at that distance for most of the meet, but she certainly just bucked that trend and rolled from the back of the pack.
Right, like I said, as they were turning for home, I thought she was just going to run 7th or something.
Yeah, she just jumped in late, and it was an impressive performance. Let's go to the 10th race at Turfway now, the Grade 3 Spiral Stakes. 3-year-olds, 9 furlongs on the synthetic track, 12-horse field, and your morning line favorite, Uncaptured.
Uncaptured, yeah. I actually made this horse my Kentucky Derby pick last year. I liked him in both of his Churchill Downs wins, but in hindsight, I probably moved much too quickly to say such a thing. He's had a lot of setbacks. I'm supremely confident in his talent as a racehorse, but this is asking him a lot to go a mile and an 1/8 after having not been out since the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes.
I've had him ranked pretty high in my Derby top 10, at least last year I did. He's actually been dropped out of that for the time being, but if he runs well here, he could certainly rejoin my top 10, and a lot of people would consider him a major Derby contender if he ran well in this spot. Now, it's interesting that some of the horses or actually all the horses that finished in the top 3 in some of the major races last year around 2 turns, they've been disappointing. The Breeders' Cup Juvenile horses, Shanghai Bobby came back and did finish 2nd, but the top 3 there have been disappointing. Some of the others from the Cash Call, the Remsen Stakes, and the Kentucky Jockey Club, some of these horses have come back and disappointed this year.
Right, probably the only 2 bright spots from those races would be Oxbow and Java's War, who was 2nd in the Tampa Bay Derby to Verrazano.
And they're definitely ones that you want to keep an eye on. And Wayne Lucas trains Oxbow. Speaking of Wayne Lucas, he has Channel Isle in here. It seems like every time there's a Derby prep, Lucas has something on.
Yeah, and unlike recent years, he's running well.
Yeah, he definitely has, and he's got a couple major contenders will take charge as well, and Lucas is going to have a Titletown 5 running in the Louisiana Derby, so he has some prospects this year for sure. Another horse to look at in here, Balance the Books, Breaking from the Rail, trainer Chad Brown. This one's another one that had a setback. He had a fever. He was supposed to run in the Palm Beach Stakes. He missed that start. They redirected to this race, and he does have a bullet work for this, and he'll be running on late.
Right. Unfortunately for him, there doesn't look to be much speed in here, which is why local horse Mac the Man is my top selection. He's got a very good rider in Norberto Arroyo Jr., who's getting home at a 23% clip right now, and Jeffrey Thornberry is as good as anyone out there, if you ask me, the trainer. This horse looks like, first time 2 turns, he wired him. Second time 2 turns, I think he's going to wire him again. Yeah,
he could be dangerous in here. As you mentioned, not a lot of pace in the paper race. He's going to be out there, and if he can control the pace, he could be tough to catch. Maybe some other horses to look at in the late going. Fear the Kitten is one, and then possibly My Name is Michael for trainer Bill Mott.
Right, Bill Mott, he's not coming up here for fun. He wants to win the race, and that horse looks talented. He's run well on Polytrack before, and who knows what he might do.
Yeah, he ran well in the Sam Davis where he rallied from off the pace, and there wasn't a ton of pace in that one either, so it looks like maybe the same kind of scenario today. We'll have to see how he does. For Greater Glory, I thought was a little interesting. He had trouble in the Battaglia. He rallied from well back. He's one that was showing tactical speed in all of his other races, and then he switched to the poly track. He fell 14 lengths back, and he ended up finishing third, only beating a length. He's going to be coming on probably a little late, but I think he'll be closer than he was last time.
Right, I think a horse that you have to use in your exotic tickets, regardless of what he looks like and regardless of the price, is Fear the Kitten. Michael Maker just runs Turfway Park, as everybody knows.
And I liked Fear the Kitten last time as my long shot underneath in the Southwest. I actually keyed him in third in the try. He ended up running second, but he's one that you're going to be looking at late. Black Onyx is one for trainer Kelly Breen that has a shot going from turf to synthetic.
Right, Joe Bravo went for the mount.
And he's one that has a little more tactical speed than some others, so maybe he can work out a trip in here. So how do you think you're going to play this race?
Strictly Mac the Man to win. Maybe play at pick 3 or 4.
That's good strategy. You got your speed, and you know he's going to be a decent price because you know that Uncaptured is going to take a decent amount. I think Balance the Books will take some money as well. But speaking of Balance the Books, I'm not going to pick him on top, but I would like to see him do well. He was my when I started my Derby list last September for Horse Racing Nation, he was in my top 10 last September. So he's the only horse from that group that's still in my top 10. And I would like to see him run well here and then maybe go to the Bluegrass. But I won't pick him on top. I'm going to go with My Name is Michael, 10-1 morning line. You got Rosario riding for Bill Mott, good 35% jockey trainer team. He should work out a trip from mid-pack, and we know he handles the track. And then I'm going to throw in For Greater Glory underneath. And then as a long shot, Black Onyx maybe could hit the board as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure you remember a few years ago, Bill Mott won this race with Hold Me Back.
That's right, and I liked Hold Me Back. I had picked him not in that particular race, but later on when he had run well, I was on his bandwagon. That'll wrap up this week's video. I hope you enjoy it. We'll be back next week for more Derby preps. We got Derby preps going on every week now for the next few weeks as we get closer to the Kentucky Derby. Until next time, good luck at the races.